Hello all my friends, welcome back or welcome to the channel. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. My name is T and this is my channel, Crumpets Tea and Sewing. I also go by that handle over on Instagram as well and Facebook, so I'll put the links to both of those accounts in the description box below. Today I'm going to be sharing with you two special reviews. The first is going to be of this beautiful fabric that was sponsored to me by Mood Fabrics called Cityscapes, Flowers, and Foliage. I also did a review of this on my blog. Yes, I have a blog. I'll put the link to that in the description box below as well, so you can go over and read it if you also want to read the review of that. The second review that I'm going to be doing is of the McCall's M7351, which is of a shirt dress pattern. And I'm thrilled to give you my experience, to tell you my experience as well as my review of that pattern as well. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and start with the Mood Fabric Cityscapes, Flowers, and Foliage. So this particular fabric is a wonderful piece. I have never seen or worked with a fabric such as this one before, which I'm really grateful that I had the opportunity to do. So this particular fabric is a 97% cotton and a 3% elastane fabric that has gone through what is called the mercerization process. So I'll tell you what all that means and why this fabric is a wonderful piece. All right, so when a fabric goes through the mercerization process, basically that means that it's gone through a treatment to add luster to it, to add vibrancy to the colors, to add strength to the fabric itself. So you're going to have a fabric that has about that has been increased in strength by 10 to 50%. The sheen on it will be increased as well, so that you can get a better, the vibrancy of the fabric will be more pronounced. In addition to that, the fabric will also be less likely to shrink over time. So I'm really impressed with this particular piece. This is a fabric that has an abstract design. It was printed in Brazil, made and printed in Brazil. So it's a Brazilian design. And it, as stated in its name, it has cityscapes in the background of the fabric. In my pictures, you can't really tell that the fabric has buildings in it because it has like a light sketch of the buildings in the background, and the floral detail kind of takes center stage. But I'll get close up so that you can see the different designs in the piece, and you can see the buildings more clearly as well. The one thing that I like about this piece is that it has a balance between light and dark colors. So as you can see in the foreground, you can see some of the darker floral details, such as black. There are some really dark greens. There are some darker blues and some darker magenta type colors, but you also have lighter colors such as yellows and oranges, some light to medium blues as well. And so I think it really complements this piece to have both lighter colors and darker colors. So not only am I impressed by the fiber content of this piece, the sheen, the fact that it's gone through the mercerization process for added strength and durability, but I'm also impressed with the design itself and how you have the balance between the light and dark colors. I really enjoy looking at that type of design. It's just very pleasing to my eye. So all in all, I really love this piece. It's a really nice piece to work with. It has the benefits of a silky type fabric in terms of like appearance, but in terms of like feel and texture, it behaves much like a cotton, and so it's very beginner friendly. You can put it in your sewing machine and sew it up without having to worry about it draping. And you know how some silky type garments, you have to really pay special care to how you sewing those because it drapes. Well, even though it has the appearance of this drape and it's fluid and it looks very fluid and very vibrant and everything, it has all these wonderful positive things about it. The other added bonus is that it behaves like a cotton when you're sewing it. So I really love this piece and I can't get enough of this piece. Now, if you're not someone who likes floral details or designs, or you don't like these types of hues or these colors together, I would still encourage you to go over on the Mood website and look for a fabric with this type of fiber content, as well as a fabric that has gone through the mercerization process. It's very, very a unique fabric. Like I said, I've never worked with a fabric like this before, and it was a treat to do so. And like I said, it has a really nice soft hand to it. So I like the fact that it has that soft hand. It doesn't feel like any other cotton that I've ever worked with before. It has a really nice soft finish on the top of it. The texture of it is very soft. So again, I'll leave the link to this particular fabric in the description box below. You could go over, check the fabric out, and look at Mood's description on the fabric. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn my attention to the McCall's M7351, which is the pattern that I used for this beautiful fabric. And it is a pattern that has cup sizes, and I'll put the picture here so you can see what the pattern looks like. It has 4 different variations, as I mentioned before. So views A and B have like a curved hem. It's a little bit of an asymmetrical hem because the hem on the side seams is shorter than the hem in the front and the back, but the length of the curved hem in the front and the back are the same. It's just on the side seams it's a little bit shorter. This particular pattern has a button placket that goes down the center front for all views. It has a collar band and a collar as well for all views. You have the option of doing pockets. So view A is shown with 4 different pockets. So you have 2 breast pockets and 2 pockets on the skirt. Views B is shown with the pockets only on the breast area. And then view C has the pockets on the breast area as well. And view D is shown with no pockets. So you have an option to use the pockets on all views, but and then you have pockets that you can put on the skirt, place on the skirt as well as on the breast of the garment as well. The pattern has a little bit of a forward shoulder. So the shoulder line is going to come forward a little bit. Now for me, because I have like sloping shoulders, if I want to have that seam line come even more forward, I would have to do an adjustment to it. But the seam line just falls right on my seam, on my shoulder line, because like I said, I have sloping shoulders. And so I didn't do any adjustments to that. But if you're someone who has perfect posture, or you don't have to do any adjustments to get your seam line to fall on the line of your shoulder, then that shoulder line is going to come a bit forward. For me, it kind of just sits. Let's see if I could show you here. For me, it just kind of sits on my shoulder line here. So you're not gonna see that shoulder line coming forward so much. I decided not to worry about doing an adjustment for that. But for those of you, like I said, who have perfect posture or close to perfect posture, that back yoke is going to come forward. And so, yeah, mentioning that the back garment has 2 inverted pleats as well as a back yoke. So you're going to be cutting out two pieces for the back. You're going to have your back yoke and your back. Both are cut on. So the back yoke is cut out as one piece, but the back of the garment is cut out on fold. The front of the garment obviously is cut out twice because you have a center front and you have a center front button placket that goes down the front. I chose view B, however, I used view D sleeves. So view B sleeves are a longer sleeve that has like a tab on it that you can roll the sleeve up and then, you know, use the tab to keep the rolled up sleeve in place. I decided not to do that because I didn't really have enough fabric to do that. So I did a shorter sleeve, and that was view D's sleeve. I had to adjust the sleeve a little bit so that I can get the width that I needed for the sleeve because I have a bigger bicep. I didn't do a bicep adjustment. I just whiten the sleeves at the end using Professor Pincushion method, and I'll put that link in the description box below as well. It's just basically you're just increasing the width of the sleeve on the side so that you can have essentially more room on the side for your bicep without changing the sleeve itself, the sleeve pattern too much at the cap of the sleeve. The other view for this particular pattern is so you have view C, which is a handkerchief skirt, and then you have view D, which is just a regular square skirt pattern. These all come in cup sizes, and so I selected a cup size C. In the actual size of the garment, I selected a size 16, and that was for everything. A size 16 for the arms, a size 16 for the bust, a size 16 for the waist. For everything, I selected a size 16. I had to do a 1/2 inch FBA. So because I had to do that full bust adjustment, but it didn't have, so the pattern has bust darts, but it doesn't have waist darts. So I had to include waist darts down at the bottom so that I can do my FBA and open up that pattern some. When I did that, it did increase the waist a little bit, but not by much. I didn't include that dart into my final finished garment. So I do have a little bit of extra room in the garment, which I don't mind. But next time that I do this pattern, I would definitely sew those darts in position so that I don't have, so that the waist isn't too big. Especially because I was working with a fabric that has a little bit of scratch on the cross grain. I should have included those waist darts, but I did not. Next time I will though. For the collar band, instead of putting a button up here, I put a snap here because I just don't like buttons up here on it. It irritates me, like trying to get the button on, trying to take the button off. I find the snaps to be easier. They don't feel like they're choking me as much as a button does. And so I just put a snap here. So that's really the only change that I did to the garment in terms of modifications. In terms of adjustments, like I said, I had to do an FBA. I had to lengthen the skirt by 2 inches. There were a few adjustments. I had to do a sleeve adjustment. And so it wasn't like a lot of adjustments, but I did have to do a few. I did have fun with this pattern. I would sew it again. The garment that you see me wearing in this video was my mock-up, my wearable muslin. So I made this, the bodice part of the garment, about 3 times before I made this wearable muslin piece. And this one, even though it's a 100% cotton, it doesn't have stretch in it, but it does have, it feels like it has almost as an equal stretch as the fabric that has 3% elastane in it. And so that's why I used it, because it does feel like it has some stretch in it, even though it's not labeled as having stretch in it. And so that's one of the reasons why I used it. And they are fairly similar in terms of how it fits on my body. So I'm glad that I used this, and I'm actually pleased with how this wearable muslin has turned out as well. I wanted to make a full dress before I jumped in to this project here. Prior to making this one, they were all just mock-ups of the of the bodice, the front and the back, without the collar band or the collar. I actually wanted to make a full dress before making this one, as I mentioned before, because I didn't want to mess up on this beautiful garment here. But I'm really pleased with how everything has turned out. All right, so before I close this video, I just want to tell you real quickly about the belt that I made to go with this particular garment, which is a it was made out of a navy blue Sapima cotton from Joann Fabrics, and it has like a little diamond buckle that I purchased from Joann Fabrics for like 60% off. So it was like, I don't know, $2-3. Wasn't very expensive, and I purchased it years ago. It was in my stash. It was the only one that I had in my stash, actually, and it was the correct size. So this pattern has a belt pattern, and this is basically what this is here. It's the belt pattern from this particular pattern here. And basically it's just one long pattern. And I used the maximum size, which was the size 22, because I like my belts a little longer. Instead of using the size that I chose for my dress, the size 16, I used the size 22. And it's basically, it's really straightforward. It's really easy. So you take the pattern piece after you cut it out, and you cut out interfacing for it. You put the interfacing, you apply the interfacing to the fabric as instructed by the directions of the interfacing, and then you just fold it with right sides together. After applying that interfacing, you fold the belt right sides together and you stitch along your stitching line. You make sure you leave an opening to turn it right side out, and basically that's it. You press your belt down, stitch it in place. So I did some top stitching on it. The pattern doesn't call for it, but I stitched it in place. And then at the square end, so this belt has like a slanted end on it here, a diagonal end on it, and then it has a squared end. On that squared end, you just put your, let's see, I'll take this off so it's easier to explain. So this is the squared end here. So you just basically take that square end and you put it through this end here and just stitch it in place just like that. And that's basically what you do. And then you can put your slanted end into this end, and then you have your belt. Sorry, I'm not really good at explaining that right now, but it's really simple and straightforward. The pattern says that it's an easy pattern that is basically for advanced beginners. I would say that that's somewhat true. I don't know. For me, I didn't start buttonholes like at the advanced beginner stage. I was just like too nervous to do that. But if you are ambitious and that's something that you feel like you can do and that's a part of your skill set, then yes, I would say this is definitely an easy pattern for advanced beginners. But I would say if you've never done buttonholes before, I wouldn't start with this one. I would start with something that has fewer buttons, because this project calls for 8 buttons and buttonholes, and so you're going to do not 8, I think 9, including, well, I did 8 because I didn't do the collar band here. So it calls for 9 buttons, and you're going to put those all the way down the center front and also on the collar band. And if that's just something that you've never done before, I don't know if that would be something for an advanced beginner. However, like I said before, if you're ambitious, then you can do pretty much anything, right? But that's my review of the shirt dress as well as the fabric. I had fun working with both of them. I hope that you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to check out my blog posts of both of these reviews over on my blog site, and I will put that link in the description box below. And if there's something that you feel as though I didn't answer, you can always shoot me a comment down below, and I will get back with you as soon as I can. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I hope this review is very helpful, and I can't wait to tell you all what I'm working on next. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, my friends, stay creative.